I'm your host, LLM, Khanya Mosetlhi, and today we are joined by a special guest. We have a Chelsea fan. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time, and the timing of this is beautiful. Lesedi Mokoena, please say hello, sir.
What's up? What's up, everyone? It's the worst time to come on as a Chelsea fan. I can't lie. But yeah, how's it? It's good to be on. Thank you for having me, guys.
No, we appreciate your presence. On top of that, we have a returning Lebone. Sir, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys?
No, healthy and everything. And
Lovely.
last but not least, our resident Liverpool hater, Mvu. Please, sir, this is your moment to shine. And how are you, sir?
What's up, review? What's up, everyone? I'm good. I'm outside enjoying the sun. It was a good day for me yesterday. A Liverpool L and a Barca W. You can't ask for more.
No, truly. So let's dive right in with what I think is the biggest thing that's happened in the past week. Chelsea have sacked Tuchel, Oaks. I won't lie, I'm quite taken aback by it. I didn't think this was gonna happen this quickly. I thought he'd make it till like October at the very least. But somehow, some way we're here. And I also don't think like they were bad. They were bad this week, but I don't think they were so bad that they needed to make this change. How do you guys feel about this? Les, I have to kick it to you first. What is it? How are you feeling about this?
It's super strange, dude. It's super strange. I mean, on Tuesday, you and I were watching the game, the Champions League game, and discussing how Tuchel could turn it around. Like, we also said, I think, dude, like, I thought he was going to make it until the World Cup, at least. But yeah, the timing is very, very awkward, dude. Stuck in two minds. I think, based on the pitch stuff, yeah, it just hasn't been good enough for a while. I think when you, as a manager like Tuchel, when you base your whole system on the defense, and then the defense is leaking goals, then yeah, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. But I do sympathize with him on the off the field stuff. Like, he was tasked with all of this football director stuff and sporting director stuff, and like, yeah, that's obviously took a toll on him. He wasn't. I don't think when he signed up to be a Chelsea manager, he thought he was going to be doing all of that. So yeah, I do sympathize there, but yeah, on the pitch, I don't think it was good enough, and yeah, I do think it was worth the sack on my behalf. Yeah, I do. I know a lot of Chelsea fans are down bad by him going. I'm kind of indifferent, but yeah.
Okay. And Bones, how do you feel about this? I remember when we first spoke about Chelsea and like the top four hopes. I think none of us said they'd make top four. So do you think it makes sense that they sack them?
It's hard to look at because I thought he was going to get more leniency, as you said, he alluded to. I thought he was going to at least make it till the World Cup. But I think there'd been little small comments that he'd been making in public that had been sort of aimed at the new hierarchy. And I think also the new hierarchy in themselves are also trying to establish their own type of way of functioning and way of moving. And there was a report that said that Todd Bowley, is that how you say his surname? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. We're not American, boy.
Yeah. But there was a report saying that he desperately wanted Ronaldo, and Tuchel said no because he would mess up the vibes in the locker room, and that I don't think it created a rift, but I think it gave Todd more initiative to actually follow through and look for the way forward if they're already not seeing eye to eye on something that he might have seen as a big thing. Because if that went through, that would have been the most united move I've seen a team other than United do in terms of the ownership and how they move, which makes sense in terms of how Americans actually try to like franchise their sports and whatnot, and like just get big players with no real plan.
Big names.
Yeah, to bring marketability and funds and make it profitable and whatever. But it's not always necessarily based on what's going on at the pitch. So I think from that perspective, it might give us some insight into the ruthless nature that these guys are trying to go by. And if they saw Potter had the thing right now and Tuchel's giving, he's not doing enough, then I guess then making the switch now makes sense if you're just trying to get it over and done with now and actually make it move forward. But then you actually have to give this guy time. Otherwise, it just looks like these guys are just being nonsensical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually low-key looks like worse than something Abramovich would have done, which is scary
Exactly.
to think about.
But
Exactly.
I think, yeah, sorry, just to piggyback off that one, I think on top of the Ronaldo thing, I think another thing that I read also was the beef between Bowley and Tuchel, like also began with, because obviously the owners were buying a lot of these young players, like Khanya Mosetlhi, the American keeper. Also, a lot of Oaks came back from loan. Apparently, Tuchel just wasn't looking at them. He wasn't going to play them. He didn't want them in the team, and that's the direction that the owners wanted to go. And so there was a bit of a misconnect there and miscommunication. So I think that also played a part. So yeah, I think the new management team that he's looking to bring in he wants them to play with the youth. I think it's a difference, but yeah.
Yeah. And Mvu, what are your thoughts on this?
Just about the sacking, or do I also touch on the new appointment?
I think the new appointment. I'm curious about how you feel about Potter.
Okay, just with the sacking, then I'll just start there. I'm surprised it happened now, but it's one of those ones where I think some of us here might have anticipated that this would happen. It happening so soon is a weird one. I thought at least they would give him at least, another month or so with these types of signings, but I didn't see him lasting the whole season. But it's a weird one. And then with Potter, I'm a big fan of him. I think he can do well, but in terms of security, I would like to see him at a club where he's almost guaranteed 3 years, to work with what he has and imprint his style of football into the team and so on. And under Abramovich, would never think Chelsea would be the place to go, but this new owner has now made this decision where you might even question how long he might last. So as excited as I am about seeing him at a big club, and I think he could do bits at Chelsea, I'm just a bit worried about whether or not he'll be given the time. If he was joining Liverpool, for instance, I think I'd be a lot more excited than I am to see him there. But I don't know. We'll see. We can't assume too much. But I'm really excited to see what he does with these players. I think he'll give a lot of players life again, and this defensive mindset that Tuchel has adopted, I think, will be gone because Chelsea have enough players to go forward.
Yeah.
But are the players that good, though, is the question.
I think they're good enough. They're good enough for what they need right now. I think the players that they have going forward are good enough to make top four. I don't think anyone can objectively look at that team and say that these players are not capable of maintaining a Champions League spot. Their weakest part is the midfield, but even then, it's not like they're competing against the very best midfields right now. Aside from City, who are you really looking at in the middle and be like, you know what, these guys will beat anyone? Maybe this is a bit biased. Maybe Arsenal, but we just gotten shown live against United. So I think it's even weird to highlight them as one of them. So I think they're good enough. I mean, Sterling's proven it. I think Mount is good enough. I'm not too convinced on Havertz yet, but there might be something there. Yeah, I think they're good enough to at least get top four. Whether they get it or not, I am not sure, but I think they're good enough.
So wait, sorry, just out of curiosity, you think we'll get top four? Who's going to be like 1, 2, 3?
No. I don't know whether or not you'll get top four, but I think you have a squad that's capable of getting top four. Whether you get it or not, I'm not sure. Give me a month and we'll come back to this conversation. But I think the players you have are good enough. As long as
where do you think
doesn't start,
your players would finish? Like, where do you guys think you'll finish?
Under Potter.
Yeah. Well, actually, under Potter, but also, what did you think as the season was starting?
Going into the season, I really wasn't confident, to be honest. Like, I thought Arsenal in the development were way ahead of us. United to a degree. I think 5th is comfortable where we could sit. Like, our attack just wasn't firing. And I think with Potter coming in, our hope is that it fires, but he's never managed these type of players, this personality, this big of a squad. So it is going to be like different to see how it goes. So I'd be happy with 5th, 6th, and then we build from there. Another thing I want to touch on with disappointment and firing Tuchel now is weird because we're bringing in this manager who wants to be like a long-term guy, who's a squad builder. Like everything he's done at Brighton is like squad building, right? That's something Tuchel wasn't. Tuchel wanted to win now. He wanted experienced players. That's why you saw like Thiago Silva, 38-year-old Thiago Silva playing like old oaks and experienced heads. But it's weird for me that we're hiring him without having a director of football, without having like recruitment people in. It's almost like we're working backwards. You meant to get like the director of football first and then the manager and all of that. So yeah, still, as much as I'm optimistic about the coach, it's just a weird way to do business. And I don't know if it's the American way or what, but yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
I must say I'm a bit surprised that you thinking fifth and sixth, because as bad as the situation at Chelsea is right now, that is one of the teams that know how to grind out results, no matter how bad they are. I think like the worst I've really seen them was the year Mourinho got sacked. His last stint at Chelsea.
I think they finished 10th that year though. When it's bad at
Yeah.
Chelsea, it gets really bad though.
And
that's
we
what
can't score. We aren't
what
scoring any
annoys me,
goals, dude.
That's what
But
annoys me
I-
about them. They're so like one minute they're nowhere, the next minute they're winning the Champions League. And when I say the next minute, I mean within seasons, like one season. Like it's such a mad phenomenon. Like it's a phenomenon in itself how Chelsea are successful.
So for me, I think the issue that Chelsea have right now is that in the past they've had players who've down tools who are capable of certain performances. At this moment in time, we're kind of just hoping. Well, I'm not hoping. I hate Chelsea. I want this. I want them to stay exactly as they are. But Chelsea fans are hoping for turnarounds in form from players who haven't necessarily shown that they are those guys yet. You're hoping that Broja is going to turn into this old like this world beater essentially. When he didn't score 10 league goals last season for Southampton. You're hoping that Havertz suddenly comes good. You're hoping that Pulisic can suddenly stay fit, and then you'll get goals from those players. You're hoping that someone becomes that creative force. They best attacking players, Rich James, guys, like a right back. Like you can say the same for Liverpool, but they've had Salah, they've had Mane, they've had other Oaks as well as the super attacking right back. Chelsea's personnel issues are a lot deeper than I think Oaks are really appreciating, especially going forward.
I
You
think
think Reece James is the best ahead of Sterling, or just within the team setting that they're in now?
I mean, obviously, I'm gonna count Sterling. But I'm saying the squad they had before the window going forward, because Sterling's we know Sterling, we know what he is, but he's also not their striker, and I'm not banking Sterling to score 20 league goals either.
And
So,
where do you see Oba in this? Where do you see Oba?
I'm not considering him. I don't think Potter's gonna play him, if I'm honest.
Okay.
No, I hear what Kanye's saying as far as like being an attacking threat, because he's not scared to be on the ball, and he's also quite composed in terms of his final ball. So I get that in terms of maybe he's not in terms of output the most effective, but like he's always someone that the defense has to actually be locked into, because he can find people if they're doing what they need to do, and he does find people. It's just niggas don't finish. Like Havertz does not finish. He's a bad finisher, like by all accounts. But he's he makes very good runs and is very spatially aware. But his finishing, that killer instinct, it's still growing, because he isn't actually a natural striker. But you see by the fact that he actually gets into those positions how bad a finisher, because he misses so many.
But I think that favors Potter, because I don't think he's been blessed with the most fantastic finishes at Brighton. The quality at Chelsea is better, but the type of football he plays creates so many chances. And I think if he's doing that at Chelsea, the return for goals will be a lot higher than they would be at Brighton, and they were okay. So I'm not too worried. But like again, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make top four. But I wouldn't be so quick to write them off. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just want to add, like, I think it says way more about Tuchel that he wasn't able to get a tune out of any one of our attackers than it says about the attackers. Like, you can't tell me all those attackers are trash, bro. That's impossible.
Exactly.
Like, I genuinely think, and as Mvu said, Potter has done this with Welbeck and like toast Oaks up front. Like give them decent finishers, people who can run with the ball and like decent intelligence. Like I think he'll do much better. So yeah, I think it just says way more about Tuchel that he couldn't. So many attackers came in and out the squad and they were all like very average. So yeah.
No, look, fair enough. I guess time will tell. We'll have to see exactly. So moving swiftly along, Liverpool's loss. That's one of the most shocking performances I've seen from an established centre back in a very long time. I don't know when next Joe Gomez is hoping to be playing again. If I'm Klopp, he's only playing Carabao for the next month or so. But yeah, 4-1. I won't lie. I thought that Napoli could win the game, but that's not the type of result I expected. I'm genuinely shocked by that. I wasn't even like laughing at my stepdad as I watched that game. Like I looked at him, I was just like, this is quite hectic. How do you guys feel about that?
Now, I was genuinely shocked as well because I was studying and then I had it playing on the side, so I wasn't really paying attention until I saw 2-0, and then I was like, what is going on? And then I saw the third goal, and also Trent, bro. We can't just say Joko. Trent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Trent is
but we know Trent. We know who he is.
No, but
no, not like this. Not like this.
But this was bad, bro. Like this was bad because it wasn't like it was like he didn't care, bro. Like he was so disengaged. The second the ball was past him, he's out of the game. Like he's not tracking back. He's not trying to cover. He's not trying to go on the line. He's not trying to do anything. Like once he's out of the equation, he's literally out of the equation, and he waits until I don't know a counter's gonna happen, hoping that Joe Gomez and Mr. Van Delegate are gonna actually do what they need to do to stop an attack. Nah, bro. It was shambolic. It was shambolic from start to
yeah. Joe Gomez was bad, but Van Dijk also wasn't great, bro. As well, that whole back was very.
Listen. No one shot. No one comes out of this game looking amazing. There's lots of issues. We know Milner shouldn't be playing. That's the first one. I don't know how Klopp justified giving him a new contract to himself.
In big 2022, that guy played with Lucas Khanya. Like he's so old, bro. He's so old. I don't get it.
No, and you're right. Like there's lots of other issues, but this is the one time I'm not going to blame Van Dijk because look around, look at the Oaks. Like if we're gonna put any of this on, if we're gonna not give all of it to Joe Gomez, you look at Trent and how disinterested he looks. What was Van Dijk meant to do in a game like that? When Milner's up in front of him, Fabinho looked off of it. It's like this can't be on Van Dijk.
No,
it can't be on him, but he must show us why they were telling us he's the best of all time.
So look, I think the time's come and gone. I don't think he's like his peak might actually be over, and that's fine.
I thank the Lord for it. These are one of the days that I've just been waiting for. You know what I mean? Like, guys, I have had this opinion about Liverpool for so long. They've been great in their time. Don't get me wrong, they've been good, but their players have just been way too overrated for what they were actually doing. Like, I think that this is the only team that I know that has been praised so much, and understand, the level that they were playing at. That I do get, but they were praised so much for always falling short at some stage of the season. But ask me if I'm surprised about the defensive performance of Alexander-Arnold. Nope. Gomez did shock me a bit. I never knew he had that in him. I thought he would be at least a normal guy, but what we saw was disgraceful. Very, very, very disgraceful. Van Dijk as well. Like, I get that everyone was bad, but I don't think anyone from that defensive line can come out of that game with their head held high. Maybe Robertson the most, but I just think it was just poor. And what's been nice to see that this has not just been one game. This has been a sequence of games. Trent is being exposed, has been exposed for almost a year now. For however good he is going forward, there's just too much that lacks defensively for him to be put into these conversations that he's been put in. I think Van Dijk as well hasn't really been tested. They give us a stat that really means nothing about not being dribbled past, but not really going up against strikers that are going to test you that much. Like, all of these things are factors, and I don't know why the things that apply to so many other players don't apply to Liverpool players. So I'm just happy that this is happening right now. And don't get me wrong, they've been good, but this is not something that shocks me so much. But the result was very surprising. Very surprising.
Because it could have been 8, like all jokes aside. That
5 in the first half,
yeah.
easily.
Yeah, that was scary to watch. Like as an Arsenal fan, I'm thinking. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the most satisfying thing about this is that I've always had the opinion that a lot of the Liverpool players that are good now are just very good system players, and Klopp has brought out the best in them and had a system that suits them. That's not a bad thing. Like, that's not me saying anything bad about the players, but I've always wanted to see what would happen if the system that caters so many of them, what happens to these players outside of that. And I think that's what we're getting this season. They can't fall back on some of the things that they were doing. They had midfielders that would always be running and pressing from the front, that would allow them to play such a high line. But now the defenders need to probably be like 2 or 3 yards further back because they don't have those legs anymore. And they're still continuing this high line, and the players are not equipped to play like that, where they're going to be tested and tested and tested and tested. So I think more than anything,
is the issue then more about Liverpool squad building than the players themselves massively dropping off, because they clearly haven't replaced those players if they're still playing the same way with weaker players. So how much of this do we put down to Klopp? Is Liverpool's downturn essentially all on him and his failures to refresh the squad? Is that what you're saying?
Klopp also has to hold
I do think it's a big part of it, but was he given the opportunity to do so as well? We don't know. He spent
100 million on a striker. He couldn't just use that on midfielders.
That was very foolish. But I think losing Mane, well, I don't think they were ever going to sign any attacker for less than at least 90 million. Because you don't lose a player like Mane and sign anyone. You know what I mean?
But they spent for Mane. They
had Diaz.
Luis Diaz. Diaz wasn't signed without the idea.
Enough. Okay, yes.
And they had Jota.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually speaking of crap. Yep, he flopped. He flopped.
But is it him?
Badly.
Is Klopp like
no?
It's guy there? Because it's Michael Edwards, dude, and he left. So I'm sure, dude, like it's been hard for Oak to recruit that side, because the main sporting director, Oak, didn't he leave?
He did leave, and I think that's a valid point to bring up. But like towards the end of the window, we saw Klopp eventually admit that he needed a midfielder. He immediately goes and gets Otto, right? So there's clearly enough mobility. There's targets they have identified. He just, for whatever reason, delayed making that decision.
Yeah, you know, I think they're waiting for Bellingham. They're waiting. They can't cop him this season. I think they thought they could get past without him. Harvey Elliott playing there, but yeah, he evidently shot himself in the foot.
But what team that wants to challenge for the biggest title is waiting for one player? That makes no sense to me.
That's true. Also,
especially if it's in a spot of the pitch that is like in dire need of reinforcement.
Yeah.
Because outside of the starters, it's Chai. Those guys are not going to actually be able to sustain the level that you need those guys to be at for the entire system to actually be functional.
Yeah, fact. Yeah, it was also weird that they didn't get Tchouameni and they didn't have like a backup at all. They just said, okay, we'll hold that.
And then they spent the money on a striker. It's like, what do you need most in that moment? That's a very weird decision. And on top of that, the striker doesn't necessarily fit exactly how you normally play. Like, you have to change it a bit. So it's like he's caught in between two areas of like how they're going to play going forward, but they haven't really moved on in any other position. You're still playing the same right back who can't actually defend like that. You're not like creating the midfield around him to like make that make sense. Like, there's a lot of gaps. Klopp has.
And you can see how desperate he was. You know, like Milner was coming on for Trent in some of these games to play right back. That's embarrassing. I think the most impressive thing that Klopp has done at Liverpool is that he's made some of these gash players perform at a level where, like, they've basically been lying to us, guys.
No,
maybe
dude.
it's me that just has this opinion, but they've been lying to us for years because of the way Klopp has designed his teams to to just play this like cocaine football. You know what I mean? Just
rock and roll footy.
heavy. You know what I mean? And they've
No,
lied. They've lied.
I wouldn't say they've lied. I think they've just regressed, dude. Like, it's happened over time. Like, they've slowly just gotten worse and worse. Certain players aren't as fit, aren't as mobile as they used to be. Like, but at a certain point in time, they made sense. They just haven't replaced Oaks like Wijnaldum, who's left. Obviously, he'd also regressed. Henderson's regressed. The only players who are, like, probably at their peak is, like, it's arguably Salah, and even he looks a little bit weird right now. But that's the team in general.
I think they thought that Kato was going to be that guy, and the injury just cowed him. Like, he cannot be that guy.
But also, I wonder, the similar thing happened at Klopp's at Dortmund before Klopp left there, because we also had that period where things started getting stale, couldn't really figure out a way out, and as good as they've been over the last how many ever years, I agree with Mvu in that they have been overhyped. They've been good, they've been great, but they've played above what they're. I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it exactly. I wouldn't say
like Klopp's gotten like the absolute max out of them, essentially.
Yeah, the absolute max, and
exactly
then rinsed that for like 2 years, which was crazy. And then now I feel like the drop off to like what we actually expect them to actually be, like when they were actually bought. Like Andy Robertson came from Hull City, guys. Like, no one thought this guy is gonna be contending for best left back title in the world, but Klopp made something happen. But I think in that process of making it happen, he's kind of he's depleted them so much, because I can't not think that the work rate has to be crazy for them to be at that level and to sustain it over so many years that they've had and not reinforce, as you've said. I think he also lacked foresight in not beginning those reinforcements more urgently, because now there's this weird transition where you have to transition now, clearly, because there are people whose legs just aren't working anymore. Your Mones, Henderson, I doubt he would like fully be left out, but he's probably going to have to start being more of a bit part player than the guy. Yeah. And even him as the guy, I agree with him. He was a lie. I can't. Nah, Henderson was a lie.
Guys, you can't dismiss like 385-point campaigns and say now he was lying the whole time. There was a point he was good. He was good in the system, but he was good. We have to hold.
But he was overhyped. He wasn't player of the season good.
No,
he wasn't player of the season nominee good.
Listen, that's because he was the guy though in the team. He was English. We have to hold it. Like,
no, man, he was the guy shouting instructions. He wasn't the guy.
But what? Instructions are valid. You can't,
bro, just because he's shouting. Your Trent, track back. Now you want to give this guy player of the year for that? For telling a guy to do what he's supposed to do? No, come on.
Dog. The coach in charge said this is how it has to be. This is the guy who must jam, and he was there. We have to hold it. I'm sorry. Like I just don't
appreciate how he was received for doing a part that I don't think deserved that much plaudits. He did his part, and he was incredibly important to morale and functioning, and Chies and all that. But that guy was not the guy, and people were talking about him like he's the guy. They're talking him in the same breath as fucking Kevin De Bruyne. I don't like that.
At the end of the day, Jordan Henderson has a Premier League title and Steven Gerrard does not. I don't think you can ignore entire league campaigns like that. It's cheap. It's cheap, I know, but he was successful. You have to hold it. Honestly,
I'll hold that. I know some Liverpool fans looking at you some weird, but I'll hold that one.
So then,
look, I must say, Khanya, I do think you are right. Like, I can't just dismiss it as all of it was a lie. I just think it just shows how impressive the work that Klopp was doing with these players. I just think this is the universe balancing things out. The universe is balancing things out with transfers as well now, and like players, or no, let me not say transfers, but players are not expected to be the next Ronaldo and Messi. You know what I mean? Like football is slowly balancing out, and this is just part of it. I think, well, maybe this is what I just want to believe, but I think this is just how everything is just balancing out. I think the weirdest thing for me with Klopp in this is just like he's been here before. He saw it at Dortmund. I don't understand how he didn't see any of this coming. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think that's where I agree with you that there's no way we dismiss him from from all of this, and it's just a thing of not having good enough players. He's been here before.
But I think
Why is he doing this?
Sorry, Khanya, you were saying earlier also like it's a team building thing, and I remember you and I having this conversation about elite managers also being like good team builders. Like Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson were good at that. Like they could be good like coaches, but also know when to move Oaks on, when to sign Oaks. And not everyone can do that. Like Tuchel, he's seeing that's why Tuchel got sacked essentially. And I think Klopp's also seeing that like you can be a great manager, great manager, but yeah, when it comes to squad building, that's what like puts Oaks apart from other Oaks. So yeah, to be on that level of Wenger and them, it's difficult. Like, yeah, for that longevity type of thing.
Yeah. So when you look at the group holistically, having seen what Napoli have just done to Liverpool, what do you think happens? Do you think Ajax might somehow squeeze past Liverpool and finish second in this group, or do you think Liverpool are going to find their way back?
I think they'll find their way back. I'd hope that they go out because that would just bring me more joy. But I think they find their way back.
I don't know. Ajax decimated Rangers yesterday. I don't know. There's a lot that they have going on despite having lost as many players as they did.
Yeah, they looked quite fluid, and that's
really
where
good.
I think is why I'm not sure even if Liverpool get like catch wind in time that they actually catch up, because if Ajax actually, I think probably only Napoli is probably the only. Okay, obviously Liverpool will also be a test for them, but having already gotten the 3 points, I think I would say Ajax. I think Ajax probably push through. I think Ajax and Napoli push through, but it'll be like a final day decision between those three of well, especially Liverpool and Ajax, because I think that for the goal difference that Napoli just got now is gonna also do
they'll play a role later on.
Because if Rangers don't get their act together and everyone runs through them, then
no, listen. I think Rangers might go out here with 0 points. I can't lie to you guys.
They didn't deserve to be here. Like I don't know how PSV lost to them.
They were lucky, dude. Like they were just 2 errors PSV made home and away in the qualifier. Like they
look so poor.
If you're talking about a lie of a team, it's this Rangers side. Like, like big ups to Scottish football. I'm very happy for them to be here. This is big win loss. That they have both of their prestige sides here. Rangers shouldn't be here. Rangers should not be in the Champions League this season.
Yeah, they're the whipping boys.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I really don't know who they hope to get points off. Like it's going to require a miracle.
But boys, we haven't talked about Napoli. How they look good. Like they really do look good.
No, like really, really serious. But again, even though I want to praise them, even in the first half, there's the same issue. Their best player is always injured. Osimhen can't play that often, dude. And they still ended up winning the game, but they look remarkably weaker in the second half, like going forward compared to when they had him on the pitch. I don't think they have enough all around to keep them going.
But they've made signings like that. Simeone, Raspadori, they can lie, dude. They can lie. But yeah, Osimhen needs to fix up. Like he's too injury prone.
He might need to call Pogba's witch doctor. I'm not sure, or a different one rather, to look out for the injuries. I don't know. Like, I don't think he's completed a 30-game season yet, like 30 league games, and
he's too young for this. He's too young.
Yeah, dude. It's sad to see because he played really, really well. I'm sad he missed the penalty as well, but yeah. But also big ups to Kivska, the Georgian left wing. I'm astonished. I'm astonished at how good he really looks.
Yeah, I might be wiling here, but he gives me like early Eden Hazard vibes at Chelsea. Like he's like so dynamic, ball to feet in behind. Like he's so good, dude.
That was a very good performance yesterday.
Yeah, no, I can hold the Hazard comparison. I think he's just a tad slower than peak Hazard, but still, like there's a lot of similarities. But going on to that, I would love this. Madrid beat Celtic, and they look pretty good. They look like they're all right. You mentioned Hazard. Hazard's finally scored for Madrid again. That was nice to see. I think. But the thing that shocked me the most was Shakhtar beating Leipzig. I didn't see it coming. Like I'm very touched that they beat them the way they did.
Wasn't that 4-1?
Yeah, they rinsed them out.
Yeah, they beat them 4-1. Leipzig sacked their coach. They've replaced him now with Marco Rosa, who I think is probably better. But I'm genuinely quite blown away by that result. It was, and they played quite well, like holistically as well.
But Shakhtar scored with like all 4 shots. Like that's
No,
not going to happen. That's not sustainable, bro.
But you have to be clinical at some point, right? And they were. You can't criticize them for doing well on the day.
I just think it was one of those games as well where just everything that could have
going
gone
their
right.
way.
Yeah, bro.
Because
They
if you
did
look even from the
it for
first goal,
Ukraine.
yeah, you know, like even from that first goal, like it was just you can feel sometimes when everything's just gonna go your way.
No, I hear that because the keeper's mistake was kind of like another foreshadowing. It's just like this is the type of game where you sack your coach afterwards, and that's what ended up happening.
I was really keen to see the player that Arsenal were linked with. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he's the Shakhtar number 10. He's come out of nowhere. Yes,
Mudryk. Yeah.
Mudryk, yes.
Yeah.
He's come out of nowhere and seems to have hype, but I'm yet to see so much. But like he was good in some spells of the game. I'd like to see a lot more of him.
Yeah, I'm low-key, I'm sold already. I've seen enough from him. We need him at the Emirates. Like he's touched me. I wasn't expecting that.
What is he? Is he a cam?
Left-footed winger.
Okay. So
yeah, I could see him and Emil Smith Rowe linking up quite nicely because they have like similar kind of dribbling styles.
Yeah,
and
like they both want to carry the ball. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So, are we expecting any other shocks in that group? Do we think Madrid go through? Obviously, can Shakhtar maintain this? Leipzig already made a change, of course. So, you have to think that their results are going to improve. Or you think that they could go through, or is it really a wrap? It's Madrid and Leipzig.
Leipzig will turn around. Shakhtar can't keep up with that, dude. 4 shots, 4 goals is crazy.
Yeah, I think Madrid and Leipzig just edge it. I'm also really interested. I know the Benzema injury is a bit of a tough one, but I'm really interested to see what Hazard does now. I think he has a perfect opportunity to try get into this team. So I hope Ancelotti trusts him because I still think there's a player there. I have hope. He was too good. He was way too good to be going out like he is going out right now.
When he came on, he came on a false 9, eh? Was he playing a false 9?
Yeah, he was.
And I think his best bit is having some form of a free role because I don't think he's shifting Vinicius. So if he can find a way to establish himself in the team right now, then when Benzema's back, I don't think it will be so easy for them to just go on and bench Hazard. I think they'll make a plan for him.
Yeah, Valverde at right wing looks good as well, like in big games.
I think he's nice. On Mvu's point about Hazard, I think it's also an opportunity for him to kind of get more into the setup. But as you're saying, he is best in a free role, and I think his best seasons at Chelsea in terms of like actual watching how he influences play came from when he was in that free role and being able to come inside. What's the word I'm looking for? Link up with players. Which is exactly what Benzema does, which he is not able to do now. So he can also fill in that gap quite nicely. And yeah, also as you say, the wingers are looking good. Rodrigo, I don't know. I really would like to see Rodrigo playing a little bit more on the left. I feel like Vinicius could shift to the right, and it wouldn't be a deep thing for him in terms of how well he can play. But yeah, I think Madrid easily take the group and Leipzig turn it around. It's not sustainable. Shakhtar didn't even win a game last season, so it was just one of those games where the odds were just against them.
Yeah, I hear that. And Vu, your beloved Barcelona won a very, very easy game. Lewandowski's hat-trick. Would love to hear your thoughts, sir. I'm personally not that impressed by the results, but I'm a hater, so we'll let you lead us. Yeah.
I mean, I hear that. I don't think it was a game that we could have expected a different result. Maybe not 5-1, but I was more interested to see how the players just perform, and I was very impressed with Dembele yesterday. Like, besides like how I know how good he is creatively, but he was working hard. I don't know if he's just found something now or he's playing for the next contract. Whatever it is, World Cup is coming up. There's that as well. But I was just really, really impressed. Lewandowski impressed me as well. I think any other team, maybe PSG, aside from Barcelona, would have not been a good fit for him because he's able to come collect, have somewhat of a free role. He's very involved in the game. And yeah, all in all, a very good performance. I was happy. I feel like they're running Pedri to the ground still. Like, Xavi needs to give him some form of rest. Because I see he's been doing that with Fati, playing him, not starting him, taking him off when it's right, but Pedri doesn't seem to get the same courtesy. My main concern about my team right now is only the defense. I don't see us playing teams that are much better than us and being able to cope defensively. I think going forward will never be a problem, but the amount that will suffer at the back is very worrying.
So holistically, I don't think Barca have been tested in any real sense, even domestically. Like the team they beat most recently, they beat Sevilla 4-0. They went to City, got beat 4-0 as well. They've sacked their coach. So it's very hard to read into exactly what their level is. I think next week's gonna be a lot more revealing for them. And yeah, I don't know. I think the group right now it's happened as you'd expect. Inter losing to Bayern, it's probably the correct result. There's not much Inter look like doing right now. They come up with a really weird weekend as well. And I mean the rest of the groups, you look at Group G. Like we said, City absolutely decimated Sevilla. It didn't look like they were in that game at any point in time.
It looks so easy.
Yeah, they're finishing top of that group. I'm not even sure if Sevilla are gonna make it out at this point. They haven't even there's no indications about who the next coach is gonna be. Maybe Poch, but I feel like Poch gets linked to everybody at this point.
But they didn't replace the centre back. They lost that Carlos guy to Aston Villa and Kunde, and like they still look whack at the back. Like it's really bad for them.
Yeah, but like even going forward, I feel like they kind of left themselves shortchanged. I love Isco, I really do, but signing Isco is like your marquee signing on a free, especially this Isco when you already have Oaks like Rakitic there. And that squad is aging. Like when you look at Sevilla now and you think who in that team could probably get like a big move to another team. Like, Oaks, they're busy signing Oaks like Tayez. They're not in a good place.
Yeah, things are bad.
No, things are
They're
bad.
really not in a good place.
And I'm glad. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so moving on to Spurs did quite well, I must say. I mean, it was against 10 men, but still, they pulled it out. Charleston scored, and I think he looked impressive. Yeah.
No, he really actually did. His hold-up play was really good. Like, his hold-up play was surprisingly good. Because there were a lot of times where he had his back to goal and then he would link up play. I think for when Son got injured, like that back to goal, I'm not injured but got fouled for the red card. Richarlison had his back to goal and he collected, passed it I think for Højbjerg, and then the move started, and that was very good forward hold up play. Which I didn't really expect from him. I would, it's really more Kane's thing. So the fact that they've got someone else to also be able to do that kind of allows Kane to also be able to be in the spaces to actually either be able to be a runner or to be a further advanced passer or playmaker, as opposed to doing the deep lying stuff. So they could be really good playing together.
You guys sound quite impressed. So, do you think Conte Spurs might have something in the UCL this season? Like, dark horses perhaps?
Conte never has something in the UCL. Never.
No. It was a good game.
Yeah.
It was a good game. And I mean, it says that they're, in terms of attack, they've got options in terms of ways to play. So that's the thing, like the big thing that I'm taking away, that they can kind of get it done in more ways than one. And they've also got now another guy who's actually proficient at headering, apart from Kane. So that's also another boost for them. But in terms of their overall chances, I don't even put them top 5.
I mean,
That's
they got the results. They did well, but before that Marseille red card, Marseille were playing well against those guys. So I really don't think Spurs are going to do anything. I think yes, they ended up getting the result yesterday, but they were very fortunate that Marseille got a red card, because I really thought the game was going the other way before the sending off. But that just might be my own opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
No, it's probably a fair
What did you make of Kunduzi's performance as well?
First 45, it was life. There was something there. Like you said, I think after the red card, there wasn't much Marseille could hope for in that game. So, you kind of just have to just write that game off. So I'm just curious though. So after Sporting beat Frankfurt, I'm kind of sad how quickly it's happening. But so if we're looking at Sporting, Spurs, and Marseille as the top 3, do we think Spurs definitely go through?
Yes.
Yeah.
After winning yesterday, yes. But I still think Marseille can find a way to finish above them. Because I don't know how Spurs will do against other teams. Where I'm almost convinced that I think Marseille will beat every other team. But yeah, I think it's them and Spurs that go through.
Sporting look really good. Though.
No, that's fair. No, look, I'm still be hoping for the worst for them, but you guys are probably right. I don't know how they end up not going through at this point, especially with how weak Frankfurt looked in that second half. That was shambolic. They looked like a Europa League side in that moment.
Yeah. And you had high hopes for them, so.
High hopes for Götze primarily. I have to believe that there's one more season in the man. I have to. Or a moment or two here and there. But yeah, so I think we should. Yeah,
if I could have someone who believes, if I could have a woman who believes in me the way that you believe in Götze, I feel like I'd be a billionaire by now, bro.
No, I think everyone should aspire to. I think everyone should aspire to have someone like me in their lives. Also, my failed wonder kid has won a World Cup, mate. Before you get your slander campaign off, let's stop you right there.
I'm saying you've got an exile failed wonder kid, bro. You've got an exile failed wonder kid that.
But most of them have lifted the big chips, and ultimately that's what it's about. True or false?
Lamella,
you want to, bro. You guys are being strict. I'm not gonna hold this. I'm so sorry. But rounding off our review, I think what happened in Group H is probably the most predictable set of events that you could have imagined. PSG beat Juve. Juve put up a bit more of a fight than I thought they would. And Benfica beat Maccabi Haifa. There's really not much to say.
Yeah,
he knows. And holistically, I don't think that the first 2 we covered there were that many big shocks. So overall, I think that we've had a very interesting start to the UCL season. No really big shocks. I think Napoli beating Liverpool the way they did is probably the outlier. But I think generally everything happened like how you thought it would. I think we're going to see a lot more in the next few weeks. As a Barca fan, I know you've definitely got Barca in your top 3, most likely to win it. Who else would you pick?
I was actually thinking about that now. I think the Barcelona one is just purely because I support them. I think one team that I think is capable of winning it, it's just a matter of how serious they are, is PSG. I think they're looking very, very good. I just am worried that one of the front 3 getting injured, how much it would affect them. But the way Neymar's playing, I don't see many teams stopping Mbappe and Messi alone. But imagine just Neymar. Yeah, I think PSG is my other choice, and I'm torn between Bayern and City. But I think City. I think this year, if not Barca, we'll see a new team win the Champions League for the first time. I think that's what the season's like. So City or PSG.
And that's a bold call, and I think you're right. I think it has to be this year. I don't know what else either of them could be trying to add at this point. You have to assume this is as close to complete that they could possibly be. Anything else is just added depth, and even then, it doesn't change how good you are on a week to week. That's in the case of variance.
And who do you have as your dark horses? Who do you think will have a run that people possibly people are not going to look out for them, but you think they might just shock the world?
I think it has to be Napoli. It feels like the easy choice after the way they won, but I look at everyone else. I look at every other group, how certain teams have started. Like I think this is how it has to be. Like I would have picked Leverkusen, but there's a bunch of injuries that they've got right now, and they don't really look like exactly the same side. Like maybe things will click, but for now, I think the easy choice is Napoli. I have to say, like, if you can beat Liverpool, you could probably beat most teams.
I think you've gone with the easy one there. My dark horse will be Dortmund.
They won't make it past the round of 16. I promise you that much.
I think Dortmund can push quarterfinals this year, only because aside from every other team, I think they're the only team that I see performing well as a team. And maybe I just think this is Royce's last season where he just shows us who he is. So I think they're my dark horse. I would
you've gone sentimental.
Pick Milan. Yeah.
I feel like you've gone sentimental with this pick. Like I'd like to see it. I really would, but I just can't. Like I don't think Dortmund could beat Spurs.
Then we are not aligned. We are not aligned.
No, let's give it a few weeks. Let's give it a few weeks. But I promise you, it's not. I'd be shocked. Listen, if the time comes, we can make whatever bet you want in the meantime. We can formalize this. But for now, no, dude. Dortmund's they won't, bro. I want to believe in them, but they just won't.
And lastly, which player do you think will stand out this season in the Champions League? And which manager? A quick fire question. Yeah. Manager and player.
Okay, now manager, my pick's gonna be. I want to give a shout out to the Shakhtar coach. I won't lie. Like what they have to do is it's a massive job. It's a massive job. Like the league only recently restarted. I think his name is Igor. I can't say his name. He's Croatian. It ends in ich. I'm not gonna butcher it right now. I'll research how to pronounce it properly for the next episode. But like there's something about Shakhtar. Like I like the team. Like if not them, then I'll give it to probably Salzburg's coach. But that's just because Salzburg are always capable of putting up an upset. I'm gonna back Shakhtar's coach. And the player I'll present, I'll say
not a shock player of the tournament, like someone who you think is gonna come.
It's gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, the Neymar. Easy.
Yeah, that's actually an easy choice. Yeah.
Too easy. And yours?
I think I'm the same. Neymar for sure. And I'm gonna back Xavi. I think Barca have the players to make it easy, make the job easier for him, but I really think people don't expect much from him. So I've seen the tactical differences he's put in the team, and I think hopefully if people can get away from just looking at the team itself and what a coach has to do to get a team to click, I think they'll realize that he's actually doing quite a job.
Yeah, I can hear that. He does deserve his plaudits. But again, like I said, we're going to see what Oaks are really made of in the next 2 weeks. The game against Bayern, I think, will give us a proper stage for us to evaluate that guy.
Yeah.
But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, our listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm grateful that you guys are here and looking forward to doing more episodes. Thanks for joining us. Much appreciated.